Hello, Alisa Kapic. You are the Vice President Northern Europe for sales for IWG. So for the few who don't know what IWG is, it's the biggest player, the champion of all worldwide for co-working and flexible workspace, with the most famous brands, which are Regus and Spaces nowadays, and a few others. And happy to have you here. Maybe we can let you introduce you first. Tell us about you and maybe your activity.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having and inviting me to be part of this great initiative. My name is Alisa Kapic. I'm the Sales Vice President for Northern Europe within IWG. As you said, we are the world's largest provider of flexible workspace solutions. I'm based in Vienna, Austria, so I'm really going to be looking forward to being close to the conference when it takes place in November. And our mission is simple. We help millions of people to work more productively, to have a perfectly found solutions that fits and suits their needs and requirements in over 3,400 locations worldwide.
Yes, that's impressive. And so to put things in perspective, we know Regus has been around for more than 30 years. But what is more recent is indeed all the shift towards new branding, multi-branding strategies. That's why you became IWG, I think 2 or 3 years ago, something like that. And now you have Spaces, which is really one of the flagship, more in the co-working area, the way we understand it in terms of community and event hosting, all the flexible workspace, which is in addition, and the new culture. You also, IWG is also Signature, which is more premium, number 18, Basepoint, and Open Office. So you have this strategy that is not too, it reminds us a little bit of Accor Group, for instance, in the hotel industry, which is really trying to target different segments of the market. So what can you tell us about the reason why you had this multi-brand strategy, and why is it important now that the industry is growing?
Sure. Well, IWG offers an unrivaled choice of workspaces throughout operating companies, as you mentioned, Regus as being most known brand, Spaces, fast-growing co-working brand, Basepoint, Open Office, Signature, and Signature by Regus and number 18. And each of these brands are designed basically to serve the unique needs of businesses of every size, right? So, you know, if you do decide to work at Regus or at Spaces or at number 18, you have this personal, financial, strategic value, basically, that we bring in with when you choose to have one of these brands. All of these companies that do decide to take our multi-brand solutions, they harness the power, basically, of flexible working to increase their productivity, efficiency, agility, and market proximity. And this is really unique about us because it is the choice. And, you know, I was talking to a customer this morning and she told me, I have a choice every day to choose from a different location I want to work from. If I wanted to be inspired, I will use one location in Vienna. If I want to be focused and more productive, I will go to another center. And this is exactly this choice that we give to our customers, to our members, to be able to choose where they want to work from, spread across 3,400 locations worldwide that we offer.
Yeah, so for instance, Spaces is has 400 locations now. We come from a couple, I think, a few years ago. So it's really one of the, so some people have said it was the WeWork killer a few years ago, but it definitely is now a very clear positioning in terms of more central location in cities, community-based with the new generation of worker, as opposed to Regus, which is more maybe corporate and more traditional, but and the other brands. But what is really interesting also with our IWG's move is that you were on the first to invest in small cities, in small towns, tier 2, tier 3. Now I live in small towns. We have had the Regus for ages, I think, and this is quite unique, and also it tells a lot about what we just discussed before, the model of the distributed workforce. Now we are post-COVID. What can you tell us? What about the distributed workforce? Is it really happening? Because that's being a mental idea that has been around for a while, but is it now really taking place? And if so, why?
Yeah. So I think the trend towards distributed workforce was even there before COVID-19. We have seen that a lot of businesses were starting to base their employees outside of major metropolitan hubs to improve the cost efficiency, to basically help employees to be closer to where they live. And we have hundreds of such centers in locations with population less than 10,000 people. And we plan to open many more in such locations as we see that this trend will even further accelerate post-COVID. Our vision is definitely clear. We want to have a professional workspace on every corner. And when we look today in our European business, we are spread pretty much in all the countries across Europe. We have a little bit over 1,300 centers across Europe. And we do have plans to expand into these tier 2 and tier 3 cities throughout our franchise partnering systems. This will give us a fast reach into these cities because we will partner up with local companies and businesses who do understand and believe in our business model and who will help us to provide professional workspace in these locations as companies move their employees to more distributed places, as we shift basically towards more satellite offices, hub and spoke sort of solutions.
Are your discussion now, as okay, we are in this still ending of the pandemic, of the outbreak now, but are your discussion with your customer really about that now? We also know that in the past it was more small SMEs and freelancers that were interested in the kind of flexible workspace offering. But what are the kind of discussion you have with maybe your bigger customers now? Is it really about that, or is it still something you need to educate them about?
Well, it's a combination of both, and it's interesting to see that even some traditional companies are coming now to us and asking to discuss how is this distributed workforce model, how is this hub and spoke, how are these hybrid working models that are going to be the future basically going to work for them and can work for them. So we are seeing continuing increased interest from the enterprise companies basically reaching out to us and asking for support when it comes to dispersed working.
But is there a reflection already mature, or is it still, they are still a bit confused, or they don't know exactly how to handle it also internally?
I mean, one thing needs to be clear, and I think it's very obvious that flexible working was on a rise even before 2020. I mean, if we look at the growth of flex space in the last decade, I think flex space grew by almost 1,000% in the last decade. We have seen 30,000 plus more flex space opened since 2010, right? So in the last 7 years, flex space grew 22% versus 1% for traditional office. The annual growth rate is about 13%. So, flex space has already been there. In January, when we did our global survey, 73% of the companies globally were working flexible, right? Yeah. So, when we talk about the take-up rates of the total office stock that we have on a global level, and then when we measure that on a flex space, it's less than 5%. Yeah. Some say these numbers will go up to 30% in the next 10 years. I believe this is going to happen much faster than the 10 years because of the pandemic shifts in the way that the companies will want to work, the workers will want to work. I mean, COVID-19 has put the entire globe into this biggest remote working experiment. There were some challenges, there were some benefits. Some benefits, highlighting the benefits, there was no commute. Suddenly, no commute. People were realizing that their life is much better if they don't have to spend time and money basically commuting every day to work. It's a benefit for them, it's a benefit for the company, and it's a benefit for the environment. Even pre-pandemic, a lot of companies shared their concerns about home working environment, distractions that workers were having by working at home, not having the reliable IT infrastructure, being distracted, feeling lonely basically and isolated in the home office environment, worried about cybersecurity, and so on. So this physical distancing and the threat or concern about further outbreaks present basically the challenges when it comes to, when it comes to businesses and employees, what the future is going to look like. And we believe that distributed workforce are the future. Hybrid models of working is going to be new world of work. Flexible working will definitely play a key role in getting people back to work, basically to a professional environment that feels safe and affordable. So this is basically what we see that is gonna happen. And then when we look at the flex space, and then we look at the trends, some of the major catalysts that have impacted these shifts towards flex space, technology being one of them, right? With all the technology advancements enabling us to work from anywhere, cost efficiency, proximity to the market, but also demands of the workers, of the younger generations entering the job market, saying, I want more flexibility. In the study that we did last year in a global survey, 80% of people said that they are more likely to choose a job offering flexibility versus a one that didn't offer, even if that other one offered higher pay. So it's here to stay.
And because also we had the discussion in a previous podcast with a Polish company saying less than 10% of companies in Poland, for instance, were allowing teleworking and remote working. So if we have to move from 5% of flexible in the whole stock of corporate real estate to 30%, although there is the COVID, what can we do more, or is it still because also the challenges you face is likely is this concern of the company saying, okay, yes, but how do I keep my company culture? Security reasons, of course, there are all those reasons, but how do I keep also the people not fearing that they will miss the gossips of the company, which could cut them from opportunities they could grasp as they were more involved in all this company? How do you address those concerns? Are those concerns addressable? As simple as that.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, one is given. The crisis have dramatically changed the way companies will work. And it is shifting because they have realized, they have seen that in many ways, this remote working experiment that we were sort of forced to, we didn't have alternative solution to it, did work. Almost 50% of workers said that they were more productive, could actually get a lot of tasks done better in a working from home as opposed in the office. So it did work. Companies will have to adapt and embrace flexible working because it is here to stay. I think the office is here to stay for sure, but there will be greater requirement for flexible working. And that's why we think it's more about distributed workforce. It's more about these hub and spoke module solutions. And with our decentralized portfolio across 1,100 cities, both suburban, urban, we believe that we are uniquely positioned to help companies and businesses adapt to the new world of work.
So hub and spoke, the concept means hub, it's for the company more customized area, workspace, and spokes like satellite offices that employees and members can use in addition to this. That's right?
Correct. So the hub office is my main office, so to speak, and I may choose to have one or more hub locations in the country, within the city. And then next to that, I will have a spoke location, satellite locations that are close to where my people work, where they can have a choice to get into the professional working environment and work from there if the home office environment doesn't suit them for whatever reason.
What about to come back on the multi-brand? We have now you have 6 brands under supervision. How can we figure out that you maybe grow this number of brands tomorrow? Because as we said, the segmentation of the market as the industry is growing, Could we figure out indeed that you go further? And maybe in addition, because we mentioned Regus in the smaller towns, I guess in smaller towns you also need different segmentation, because you have also maybe more Gen Y people that would maybe feel better in the spaces than maybe in the Regus. So how do you address that? How do you envision it?
Well, the growth in the last 30 years has been done through organic growth, has also been done through M&A opportunities that we have seen. And then recently we have launched the franchise system models that are helping us basically reach out to those areas quicker. And the future is going to look pretty much the same. If we are going to reach to 50,000 locations that we want to have in the next 10 years, we are going to be on a lookout to look at the opportunities where we can maybe adapt or invent new brands that can enhance and complement our portfolio, that will further enhance the services and offerings that we can have for our customers. So, nothing will change in that respect to what has been done in the last 30 years when it comes to our growth. We just need to accelerate it.
So important point. The purpose of IWG is to move to 50,000 locations by 2030, something like that. So from 3,000, how many you said?
A little bit over 3,400 locations today.
That's a big growth. And then, as you mentioned, that's keeping organic growth, merger and acquisition, and franchise. Just a last question. We know Europe is diverse, and the way to embrace flexible workspace might be different in the different cultures in the different countries. Is there a big difference between the country you cover, you are responsible for in Europe, or it's aligning altogether as far as you see it now?
We've seen pretty consistent trends across the region when it comes to embracing flexible working. As we become more of a global marketplace, and the companies are moving basically easier across the globe, it becomes very clear that this unrivaled network and choice of brands and locations is going to be a key differentiator, and the trends towards flexible working will continue and are growing rapidly, basically in all the markets that I cover, but basically the markets where we are present in at the moment.
It's not that we see, for instance, the best in class, as always, the Scandic and the Dutch are years ahead all the others, and who are just going to mimic what they do. It's not that situation.
I think that the rest of the countries where we would say that we're more traditional are seeing the benefits of flexible working and are embracing those benefits because it is more cost efficient. It is enhancing and fostering productivity. It has a lot more benefits, and it basically is a risk-free solution that gives you no impact on the balance sheet. So a lot more benefits, and as companies do see that, they are shifting towards flexible working. So it is a really growing trend, even in those countries where traditionally we're sort of behind those countries, like you mentioned, Nordics and Netherlands.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the great conversation and giving us more elements about IWG strategy and positioning. And we will see you at the Coworking Europe conference.
Thank you. Look forward to that.
And perfect. And thanks you again so much, Alisa, and look forward to speak soon.
Sure. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.